All right, so let me talk about Sacrificial for a bit, right? So,
Sure. Yes, I could not see this because it was a little too inconvenient for me. The timing was
uh-huh.
really bad. Yeah, that I thought the screenings would have been normal, but it's just but what I was thinking is that at best we are gonna get weekly screenings for like a normal movie, and then I heard well it only just gonna be on Friday and Saturday. I heard that right. I like well okay. I mean, I might be able to make it on Friday if or maybe the Saturday on like one of the earlier screenings. Like I was just looking for screening. Then I come to find out that the screeners is like 7:35 and 8:35 alone on both days. Are like, ugh, yeah,
All right, well,
not
well,
gonna
to
make
be
it unfortunately.
precise, to be exact, sorry, it is 7:35 and 9:35, right? But
But I saw that
yeah,
I saw that on South Park. I
yeah,
saw
well, see, well, it's Caribbean cinema, so both branches, if
okay.
you will, right? So
But
yeah,
I
East
South
and
Park.
South was the same thing.
I could go back on the site. I'm not sure if it'll still be there, but on South Park I saw 7:35 and 8:35. That's what I saw. That's what I remember seeing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I checked um both sites, if you will, right? Because there's an
Right.
option where you could go to Trinity and South Park, right?
Right.
And I did see 7:35 and 9:35, but maybe I'm wrong. But I don't want
Okay.
to
No
spend too
problem.
much time on
Okay. No problem. No problem.
deliberating or whether we right or wrong, right?
Right. That's
But
why
anyway,
I
right?
probably checked the Friday day. I don't know because I just saw 7, 8. Anyway, it don't really matter
Okay.
because 7:35 is way too effing late. It was way too effing late. And it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
massive inconvenience for me. And it was just bad timing. If it was early in the day, I would be able to pull it off. It was just bad timing in terms of like just doing work and just the
Right.
timing. It was just pretty bad timing for me. So
Yeah.
unfortunate.
So our story begins a few days ago, right? We were literally wrapping up our recording of our last episode, and
Right.
you tell me that one of our Facebook colleagues tagged us on a poster, right?
Right.
And I'm
And
like, all right, what
if it wasn't
poster?
for this tag, I wouldn't even know this movie existed.
That's the thing, and I'll get to
Yeah.
that in a minute, right? So this will be the poster for this new movie, this new locally made action movie, action thriller, if you will, called Sacrificial, right? So poster look dope and whatnot, right? But the really amazing thing about this, right, is that as soon as we got tagged on it, right, and well, fun fact, right? So the person who tagged us will be none other than Michael Richards, and so in the end credits he actually worked, I believe
Oh,
it's
he
on
was
the VFX
right.
side of things, right? If I'm not
Okay, no
mistaken,
problem.
right? Yeah. So from there, like right as we wrapped up the recording, right, I went up on Facebook and I just see a whole bunch of people just sharing this thing, right? So at the moment it has 68 shares, right? This poster, right? But the thing is, the poster is from well, it was posted by Caribbean Cinemas Trinidad, right?
Right.
And they're basically saying, this pretty much telling you, just giving you a brief synopsis of what the show is about. But then what catch me though is that they say you're only running this show for 2 nights or two
Right.
days, right? I assume it was 2 days, right? That would be Friday, December the 6th and Saturday, December the 7th, right?
Right.
Much of my surprise when I go to their website, because I usually when it comes on usually on Thursdays, that's when they update things. That's when they tell you, oh, from Thursday to next week, that's where all the screening times will be. I was surprised to see 7:35 and 9:35 in both Trinity and South Park. Again, I could be wrong
Right.
with the latter, but I saw those two times, right?
Right. Right.
I
Right.
say, okay, that's weird to me. I don't understand why this movie only got two screening nights. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
nights to it. Um,
Yeah. And I'm like holy. And I'm the whole day.
yeah. Because I mean, I understand, right? But what make it really like what makes it a inconvenience, right? Is that you're asking people basically to come down to cinema. All right, so the Friday you could kind of let slide because people could
Right.
kind of leave, after work they go down there to watch the show, right? But on a Saturday though, it's like nah, man, you know what I mean? And I mean, like, if
So
the
here's the
argument,
thing. Here's the thing. Look, this is like, I know the world going belly up when it comes to like audiences and where audiences are and whatnot. But to me, Saturday is a total afternoon thing, right?
agree,
Saturday is from 11 or 12 or whatever it is to 6. If you can't get that window, that don't make no sense. Saturday night is not the night. That don't make no sense. Like that again, just local, just how I just judge crowds, local crowds, South Trinidad crowds, where to put your thing, how to like when you want to hype something up and get people coming out of your house. Saturday afternoon. That's what I was thinking. Like if it was like the usual run times 1, 3:30, 4, 5:30 or whatever it is, it would have been fine. I could have lived with that. Right. And I don't know anybody would have, I had no idea if this would have again, I have no idea, didn't go, so I don't know if that would have a big set of crowd. But I could imagine that shit would have been probably completely empty in South Park. Somebody went to the screening, I'll probably try to contact someone. If somebody went, I'll probably go in South Park itself and ask them, well, was the crowd numbers? Probably. I don't know if I can get that data, but I suspect that shit would have been completely empty.
Yeah. So last point about the whole screening time before we get to the show, right? What's so interesting to me, right? Just going to see it, because yes, I went to see it on the Saturday night screening, right? I went to 7:35, right? Is that at the moment, Gladiator 2, right, only has like a 8:15 screening
Right,
time, right? That's
right,
for the whole week, right? I guess up until next week Wednesday, right? And then they'll probably push it aside for when Craven comes, all right?
right.
So we're going from a sequel to a Russell Crowe movie to a movie that nobody asked for that featuring Russell Crowe, right? So here we are. But anyway, and then also Wicked Part One actually has two screenings, but that's in the afternoon period, right? So
Right.
I'm now wondering how come this particular movie could not have had screening times like say in the afternoon time, like all 1, 3 o'clock or whatever, and then you still have the nightly shows and whatnot. Nah. But then what? But regardless of all that, it's still weird that this show only got 2 days or 2 nights of screening time, right? Because look, like the last locally made film that had a theatrical release, there'll be No Boundaries 2024, which we covered, right?
Right.
That ran for a week. And even though I was like, a week isn't enough, it still ran for a week nonetheless, right? Even though you had stuff like the Garfield movie going on behind these, well, in the other cinemas and whatnot, right? But yeah, point is, I don't want to like talk bad about Caribbean cinemas, but it's still weird to me why this particular movie only had one place or one chain of cinema to have its run, but then
It's
also two
fine, you know.
screening times in
That
the
is the
night
problem.
on two
Right.
days. That's
No,
still weird though.
yeah. No, like well, for like in terms of like queer distribution, that's beyond the distribution level of who getting to watch a movie or whatever it is. That's why you could only see movies in certain places. Normal thing. What bothers me is that yeah, it didn't have a normal like runtime. Like this is weird. Whatever. Review the movie, please. Let's see
Yes,
what
yes,
that.
yes. And yeah, yeah. And then even more weird to me now is that yeah, we just knew about this movie like on Wednesday now. So it
Yeah,
just had like about 2 days for social
and
media now
we
to people on social media to get
and
attention
I
to it.
think we
And then
we
all of a
we
sudden, boom, the movie appears
and
for
yeah,
two
we
nights.
we know about it, and that's us who presumably in the loop for this stuff, right?
You know? Yeah.
Uh, so like if I can imagine was the average person gain wind of this as it is. Look,
Yeah.
I sure enough, the little internal crowd or whatever it is who like was aware of the movie when it was being made or blah blah blah. So they would have go to the movie probably. But like I couldn't see how in South Park where they hype this movie. Sorry to say it, but marketing and telling people about a movie is really important. Like to me, that is like the one thing that you can't get wrong. You gotta hype that shit for months. Keep reminding people that your movie coming out, even if it's looking like trash. I was always thinking the perfect example of this is the first Venom, right? First Venom is trash, but they keep telling people this movie coming out. They didn't shut up about it. Keep telling people about Venom. They had Eminem say Venom 10 times in a row, uh, because the movie make $800 million for a good reason. That is not like that science scales back up and down. That is not like something unique to some big time studio or anything like that. Remind people that your movie coming out. Full stop. You gotta
That's true.
constantly
Yeah.
tell people that your movie coming out. What to hype, when to hype it, why to hype it. You gotta know your crowd and the audience. But I look, I don't know who behind the scenes in this or what we're going on this, but this is to me a serious unforced error.
That's true. But I'll bring it up in the end of my review, right? So about the film, about Sacrificial, right? So we are centered on the character of Nikolai Matthew, right? He is this military trained. I think basically he works with national security, basically, right? So it's him and this other guy, and they just do jobs together, right? But they're told upon investigating this particular kidnapping case, right? They're told by the superior that they have to stay back. They just say, you know what, like just stay out of it. This is not your call. Forget about it. Move on with your life, right? But this bothers Nikolai, right? Because he actually lost his son years ago, right? And he still feels that resentment. He feels that pain. He feels that anger about it, right? So yeah, he feels this kind of way about what he says. Because there's a moment this conversation scene where he brings it up. Yeah, all these like just the escalating amount of kidnappings that are taking place in the country, right? So through some circumstances, he meets this single mom and a daughter, and he kind of hits it off with the mom, what I mean, and they have like a nice little rapport, a nice little relationship going on, right? But then one day now, these guys, these bad guys, basically come out of nowhere and basically kidnap the girl, and in the process, the mother gets killed. Right, she gets shot. Right.
Yeah.
So Nikolai and your friend, just vow to go and rescue her. Right. But then later on, you during all this stuff, you find out that there is this sort of like shady clandestine organization going on where people are kidnapped and sacrificed, hence the title, right? And
Right.
it's
Right.
not
Right.
really sure why or for what reason or whatnot, right? But it's implied that it's some kind of like weird cult, right? But then it
Okay.
also
Right.
involves like these like this rich individuals, right? So yeah, you're kind of picking up on some hostel vibes as well too. There's actually
Right.
one scene that kind of evokes hostel, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it's just basically Nikolai, his friend, and I should mention his friend. He's the tech guy as well too. He's the one who hacks into servers and systems, and he could pick up where a car driving or where this person could be and all that kind of stuff. And then in the process, he even assembles his own little Expendables esque team, right, to go
Right.
and save the girl and whatnot, right.
Right.
And I'll stop there, right. I don't want to spoil anything beyond that, right. So interesting thing about when I went to see the show, right? Again, this is 7:35 Saturday night, right? There was like a decent crowd though. Like I thought
Okay.
it was just gonna be me and like two other people. Like what happened when I went to the first show, the afternoon show of No Boundaries 2024, right?
Right.
But
Right.
nah,
Right.
there was
Right.
like a good crowd though. And I was actually surprised at how they were responding to the show, right? Of course it's Trinis, right? So so we can't help yourself. We also had to do the oh and we also had to crack up laughing, and it's like ah ha ha, you know what I mean? Like especially in the early scenes where you see Nikolai, hooking up with the mom and whatnot, with the single mom and all that kind of stuff,
Right. Right.
so that chuckling and laughing and all that kind of stuff. So you could tell that they were engaged into the show, right? And for me, that is like the biggest takeaway of this movie, right?
Right. But
Because
that is a good sign. Yeah.
yeah, that's a very good sign though. Because yes, we could query for these about why this movie only had two nights and two screenings each and all that kind of stuff, right? But the point is people came to see the show. People spending
Right.
money to see the show on a Saturday night. They could have done anything else. They could have hung out in the food court, and or they could have gone to some sports bar, whatever, or look for some parang lime or feta, whatever it is. They could have done anything else, but they came to see this show, Dread, and that
Yeah.
to me is like the biggest takeaway, Dread. From all this. And I would love if we get more theatrical releases, more locally films released theatrically. That's the most important part, right? Yeah. I can imagine more people, coming out to see these shows,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I can imagine one just a counterfactual. I could imagine that the well, I don't know how soon it would have been, but I could imagine how again I accustomed to South Trinidad and how they just think in terms of like where a crowd is be. So I sure it's quite possible South Trinidad had a decent crowd. Not sure. But what I'd imagine is that because it's only this screening that everybody had to come to this one screening, so that way get a decent enough crowd. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Yeah, yeah. But
Right.
and for us, especially with us having gone to numerous editions of the TNT Film Festival, right? Yeah,
Right.
we know about the whole okay, we running the show like twice for like
Ever.
about
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
for
like
a
I
few
remember
days, so you have to go to see it,
yeah, which movie it was that just had this massive like crowd the first time because like nobody got sent because it was free and nobody got the sense that they would get a chance to see it and it was the first screening. That was gosh, it was Damon McConnell's movie.
Oh, God Loves
Uh,
the Fighter. Yeah, yeah,
oh, that's
yeah.
right, that right,
Mhm.
and that had a huge pull. But I don't know how much that had outside of that.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
that how long that I can't remember how long that theater run was. But that had
Yeah, right, right. Well, good point because
that
we
had good
saw it during
hype
the
going for it.
festival. Yeah,
No,
yes, yes.
that had a lot of hype before it, like a ton of hype before it. It was just people who just connected to Freetown Collective and people who connected to just local film in general, and
Yeah, and
it
and
was
you
it
know
had a
Damien
ton of hype.
name as in
Right,
doing Marshall's videos, right? So they know that,
right,
right?
right, right.
Yeah.
No, right, exactly. It was him, and then I forget the boy's name, the lead singer for Freetown Collective, no, and
Oh, right. I'm forgetting his name right now.
yeah, yeah,
We're sorry. We're sorry.
yeah, no, but it was him, and but it had a trailer, like a really good trailer going forward from it. I remember
Hmm.
it had a ton of hype for it, and
Yes.
people put a ton of posters all over the place for it, and like I remember seeing like all over the place. It had God Loves the Fighter like flyers though. There's people that stuck flyers all over the place. They get children to like run over the place and stuff like that. So that had a decent hype going forward in it. So this now. I'm not sure. I don't know what's the big marketing campaign for it. I could be wrong. Again, we could be dead wrong. Correct me on this. But like I got the sense that it had none. But again, I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for thing. Like
Yeah,
and it,
if it
like,
wasn't
here's the
for
thing.
that Facebook tag, yeah.
Here's the thing. We just see a poster. Was there a trailer?
But that's the thing. So I
Yeah.
after the fact when I saw the when I saw the poster, I had to look up, and the trailer I think came out like about a month ago, right? But
Okay. Wow.
even that in itself wasn't even like pushed, at least from what I know of a Facebook, right? Because
Okay.
yeah, I would have known people, it would have been up in our usual channels, if you will, right?
Right.
So it would have been
Well, I mean,
exposed to us like a month in
I'm
advance or a month or
I'm
sooner,
very no, I'm very like I could be just the simplest answer to is I could just simply be out of the loop with respect to this. Like it's a bunch of local shit that I just don't know or get. Like I totally out of the loop for a bunch of shit. Like everything involving Trinidad music, I have no clue what's going on there. Even though that seemed to be massively influential in our country, going on
Hey,
right.
I ain't seen both as you, bro.
Right, but you get the point, right? I'm
Mm,
a old man now. I'm an unk.
yeah,
I
yeah,
done
yeah.
past that point. But the thing I'm making is that it's quite possible that that could be the case, and it like this movie had a ton of hype on the ground, and I just don't know. The principal's kind of meme, right? It's the kids who are wrong, right? It's I'm out of it. That
Yeah,
could be the case, so I have no problem with that. But it
right.
didn't feel like that at all, like as it is. So it's like, the smell test. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
We'll find out.
it's still weird though. And I'm wondering if it may have to do with the quality of the film itself. But for
Okay,
me, right, and I'm just being honest here, right? What makes this show work for me, right? I have to see this work, right? Is that it just leans so much into the action genre. I'm talking about like 80s action, right? Like it has like the feel of like Commando, for example. Like, you
right,
know, um, this Han ex-military guy who just trying to go about his day ends up in the situation where, a young girl gets kidnapped, and now he had to, go all commando now and go and find the people, and the people behind the kidnapping, and just wipe them out. So it has that kind of feel to it, right? um I mentioned Expendables before, with my
yeah,
synopsis here, because yeah, there's a moment where he has to assemble the team, right? And you get the quick montage of characters who serve with him and this thing or that thing and whatnot. There's one particular character who got chairs because his name is, well, I don't want to say what the name is, right? But that's the main name and presence of him, you know what I mean? Got a great response from the audience. So like the audience was just going nuts over this, right? Um, so you get that, you get those action tropes in this, right? And then also too with the, you also get some like exploitative vibes from it as well too, right? I mentioned Hostel before because yes, there was a really unexpected moment where a character is being tortured, as all we'll say, but it's not graphic, right? But it's done in such a way where it's not too graphic, but it's you could tell exactly what's going on, right? So it's more of the tell, sorry, it's more of the tell don't show kind of thing, so
right,
it
right, right.
works, right? And you got well, for me, a really unexpected cameo during that moment, right? But
Okay,
one thing though, just going back to the audience, right? I like how like everybody just sort of just shut up at this point now. And I could tell, like I was just thinking about it too. I was like, I wonder if the audience is trying to wrap their head around this. Like, oh, well, what kind of show is this, boy? When we come to see, boy, But I will give, well, the writer slash director, Dylan J. Thomas, right? I'll give him credit for actually adding this moment too, though, because kind of like just letting the audience know, look, this is some serious shit here. Like, we really want to do something here, right? So one thing I do like about the story here, right? Even though it's nothing new, right? I do like the idea of this shadowy organization and all the, so the whole kidnapping stuff, right? Which, yes, is still a social problem that we still deal with in this country, right? I like how it all zeroes down to like this group, this mysterious group who just responsible for like all these random kidnappings and all that kind of stuff now, It's very John Wick as well too, right? In the sense
right,
that,
right, right,
oh, this world that you think is like the real world, like underneath that, no, you have all these people, all these players involved who doing all these
right.
shady shit now. So you get that kind of vibe as well too, right? But I would say that the one show, like I mentioned, Commando, the one show this show really borrows from is Taken, where I really got
Right,
the
right.
sense of the Taken
Well,
vibe
yeah, the whole
of it.
yeah,
So, yeah,
same yeah, hostel, kidnapping, human trafficking
yeah,
stuff. That yeah, we
right,
do.
exactly. Like, oh, you don't want
Right,
to cross this guy at all, and everybody tell him, don't go for these people. I go in for these people. That's Nikolai in a nutshell. I
right,
go in for these guys. I don't care what it takes. I go in for it, right? And just acting wise, I think that everybody came through and just did a solid job. You know what I mean? So, but again, I have to stress this because it's an action film, right? You're not gonna get some Oscar-worthy performances. You're not even gonna get an Oscar-worthy script or story, right? It's very bare bones, very direct, very to the point and whatnot. I like that it's not trying too hard to be something that it isn't, right? But for me, while I was watching all this, right, there was a part of me where I was like, boy, if only, right? And I know this befalls a lot of locally made productions here, boy. If only we had that union, boy. If only we had the money. If only we could have bigger budgets to make films like this, boy. Yeah, boy, this thing could have been, it could have stood out a lot more than it did here, right? Because yes, I saw the cutting of corners, right? Whether it's like just little flashy, little transitional effects and all that kind of stuff, to kind of give it a style, like to give it a sort of like pizzazz to it, right? When those moments take place, it really did remind me, oddly enough, of Man on Fire. If you remember that from Tony Scott, right? With
Right,
that
right, right.
film,
Yeah.
there was like a
Like,
lot of like really stylized transitions and
no, but like
text and all that kind of stuff
if
now.
you do it well, if you do it well, you can make it work. Like one of the things about that film is that it did the film aesthetic, greeny stuff really well. No?
Yeah,
But if you do that, like that is an aesthetic, but like a modern version of that would be because everything is digital now. You could have the
that's the
modern
thing.
version
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that. Like that's fine. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, still while I was watching this, I was like, boy, if only this movie could have had like a bigger budget, or if we in general just had the resources to just make the type of films that we know we want to make now. Because I was watching this, I was like, I know the type of film you want to make, So all right, so without spoiling anything, right? So there's like a couple of explosions that take place in the film, right? And I'm watching this, right? And I see what they did there and how they work around it. But
Okay.
I was like, if only we could see it, boy. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the nature of things here, but a part of me was just like, especially, and I think why I was feeling that way too is because it's a genre of action, right? When you tune into an action film, when you hear the premise of this military guy going to save this girl from this shadowy organization, and you have a bunch of gunmen with them, right? You want to see gunfire, you want to see gunfights and explosions, you want to see that kind of stuff now. And it could, yeah, and even the movies that this show is like subconsciously referencing, right? Yes, your mind will instantly, especially with Expendables, for example, your mind instantly expecting to see like the gunfire and explosions, all that kind of stuff. But because you're working with a budget, it's like, nah, we can't really do that though. But you could tell that's what the people behind the scenes, well, the filmmakers themselves wanted to do, right? So I know for some viewers, they might watch this and be like, nah, these fellas trying way too hard, bro. Like, why they trying to try too hard to be like this Hollywood kind of thing now? But I was like, but I was legit
You do
watching
that.
this like, no, I actually appreciated the effort now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll confess the reason why is because of the genre itself. It's action,
Right.
right? And yes, you could get away with being cheesy and over the top and a lot of machismo in your face and bravado and all that kind of stuff, right? You could get away with stuff like that, right? So I didn't go into this, in other words, expecting John Wick, right, where it's all style, right, bright lighting and all that kind of stuff. I was expecting something rugged, something raw, and I got that here, right? And they actually, the ruggedness and rawness in some moments actually surprised me. I was like, okay, I didn't know we were going there, right? But
Right.
again, it's just limited by just the lack of resources and just the budget. I could see it though. Just a couple things though. Another gripe that I have with the film, right, is, yeah, that runtime though, cause it just runs at roughly an hour and 10 minutes, right?
Right. Okay. So just barely above feature length.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
find like in terms of pacing, because like I was appreciating where the pacing was going, right? But if the film itself had, let me just say, 10-15 minutes more runtime, and
Right.
I'm like, okay, I could understand the slow build up, this because there is considerably slow build up until the big moment, the big kidnapping hits, right? But if the focus was on like trying to tell the story in a short period of time, I would have just hit those beats, hit those narrative beats, those moments a lot faster, right? That's how I saw it, right? But I don't know, like this, I just really felt like we could have just had like just at least 10-15 minutes more screen time, right? Going back to the audience itself, right? Yeah, they were responding, positively to what was going on, right? But I wouldn't lie though, there were a few moments, and I don't know, I just guess, I guess that's just the nature of just when we make films, so it's like they would see somebody who, slight spoiler, is an antagonist, right? but it looked like somebody like some friend of yours or like somebody you see on the road, you know. So when they deliver the lines now, there's this one moment where the person is delivering lines, and I hear the like people in the audience start laughing, but they're
Right.
not sure if they're laughing because like it's intentionally funny or unintentionally funny. That's the best way I could sum it up, right?
Okay.
But again, it's just the nature of things, right? It's just how we respond to shows. Like, hey, I know that fella, or that fella look familiar. Or he don't look like no tough guy. So why you moving so? Why you looking so? Blah blah blah. Right? That's just how we move, right? And last gripe I had though, but this is in part, this is just with the technical. Well, just when I saw the film, right? Um, I don't know what happened though, but there was like a part of the bottom of the screen or the frame itself that was cut out now. Now I went to, well, the screen itself isn't large, right? You know, because I know like when it comes to Caribbean cinemas, some are slightly larger than others, right?
Right.
But for some odd reason, I wasn't seeing the entirety of the frame. I was just seeing, well, the top part, right?
Yeah,
But there was like a little
that
piece
does
at the
sound like
bottom
that
that
sound
was
like
cut out.
that does sound like a Korean cinema's problem in the sense that they're locally some local projectionists effing it up. That's always happened. Like that way it's something like I that has been notable in especially CC it in Trinity. I don't know if that's
Yes,
the case,
well,
but CC in Trinity
yeah,
do that shit all the time.
yeah.
Yeah,
That is actually true.
projection
And
man is always effed up.
yeah, boy. So projectionist, what going on, Jed? What going on, right? You know, no disrespect, but because I don't think these guys who made this film sent y'all the film to look that way. You
Right.
know, it's like that now. Because
Well,
yeah,
that's
there was
another
like mm,
I have another problem with local film with people. Like they don't get a chance to see it in the screen. So they test it. It look good on a computer. But maybe it's had to do I forget what it's called, the thing to translate it to be on the thing. I forget the name of the file. But if it do thing, you had to test it on that screen and adjust accordingly. Because a lot of like local filmmakers don't get a chance to do that. Like I remember this guy back in the days, gosh, he make a movie that rip off Taxi Driver.
oh,
Um,
that would be Nick
the
Atkins,
captain, thank you. Right.
Escape
So
from Babylon. Hmm.
yeah, I remember he came in a he came and he had a lecture, the equivalent of a lecture, whatever if you want to call it a lecture. But and yeah, he one of the things he was complaining about. It's more him complaining, I realize, but he's complaining about that. Like he didn't get a chance to like just test the film on the projector to see how it looked. And yeah, it's like one of those locals. So I suspect that might be the case as well.
Yeah, probably. Most likely, I should say, not even
Yeah.
probably, right? So yeah, you know, kind folks at CC8 though, you should have done like a little test run at first. You should
Yeah,
have
something.
look at the
I get the
frame
feeling that it
first, you
happened.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm assuming as I wrap things up though, because it's just one screen. Oh, we can just throw a day. Let me just
Yeah.
run a day. But no, even there, you could still check it though because people pay the money to see this, right? I did as well, right? And this last point I want to make though, I will not lie, right? The ending was very very well done though, and
Okay.
it did
Yeah.
something really really interesting to me, right? It actually sets up what could be, well, sorry, not just a sequel, but what I hope to be, yeah, like a good like
Yeah, yeah. A little
collection of
franchise, yeah.
films, you know, like a
Yeah,
little
love franchise. Yeah,
franchise.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if what do you call it? If them all of these movies, these types of movies with our badass saving people, there's always get like about 3 or 4 films out of them anyway.
You know,
Uh,
look,
eh,
anybody knew back in what 2014 that we was gonna get 4 John Wick movies?
no, but
Anybody
like
knew
John
that?
Wick, like
No.
everybody was doing one. It was a easy bit now, especially
Yeah.
the older white guy thing, like that older
Yes.
white guy or
Like Taken.
taker and all of the older guy who is the old man who could cut your ass. That's basically the genre. That's what it is. And yeah, well, Denzel had his own. Everybody had their
Well,
own.
yeah, with Equalizer.
Equalizer,
Yes.
right?
You're right.
Everybody
Yeah,
had
yeah.
their own. So yeah, there's something you could make hook, especially if you get like a surprise. Like I don't know who's the main star, but I'm surprised they didn't do like a local actor who could have done something like that, or some kind of local person who's like a wealthy actor, but he's still fit now, he's still looking good, and then they do something with that with it. I don't know, whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, this if
What
it, once you do middle aged man or older man cutting your ass, people like that bullshit.
Yeah, so you know Mal Ribeiro, yeah, you know, if anything, he could be our Liam Neeson, he could be our
Yeah, yeah.
Denzel, you know, because he is older, right? You know, I was seeing some gray hairs, you know, on his head and whatnot.
Yeah,
Also,
once you cross like a 35, you're good.
yeah. Also, I forgot to mention one other gripe though, but I think it's also because of how the film itself was shot, not just how it was projected, right? There were like numerous close-ups, especially of people's faces and whatnot. Like I get where they was going at with it, visually though, but I felt like we could have had, just like more medium close-ups, and not so much emphasis on the face. Like I get where they was coming from, but I felt like there was a little too much, and it would just made even more, taxing because of the bad framing that I saw,
Right,
when
right,
I
right.
with my screening, right? But that's
That
it.
is
But yeah,
unfortunate.
Malam Ribeiro actually have that Han, older guy, older badass, rolled down, right? And I would
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to
right.
see his character in, in other films, right? Well, not just the sequel, but other films, right? But what I think though, if they go the Jack Ryan route now, and I'll explain what I mean, right? So seeing that this movie is called Sacrificial, it just it more or less kind of tells you, okay, this is the cult, this is what's going on, but we're not exactly gonna give you the origin or the why or whatnot. It's just a cult, and it's part of this bigger conspiracy. That's all I'll say, right? But in the
Right,
next
right.
film, you don't have to call this thing Sacrificial too. You could call it another name, right? So similar to how Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, what is by Some of All Fears, right?
Right, right.
Same, or should say, even if you want to go before that, Hunt for Red October, right?
But the
Same,
person not a
same,
look.
same.
The person not.
What's next? Same protagonist,
Right,
different stories, but it's just a
right,
continuation. It's just different
right.
adventures, but the story is still progressing
No,
because of the
because
lead man.
again, the big cell it's also tapping into the normal guy cell, right? Like we just had Rebel Ridge is here. He's like a normal dude, but he's also a badass, but like a normal dude. People like that bullshit too. They like yes, they like that. That's work. Or what you call it? As they say, Jack Ryan, not Jack Ryan. Oh gosh, she went with that fella Hawk from Titans.
Oh gosh, not
Yeah,
Jack
yeah.
Reacher, no.
Jack Reacher.
Right, yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Reacher,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Jack
Yeah,
Reacher
yeah.
is Tom Cruise, yeah.
Right, right, right. But yeah,
Right.
that does work too. Like just as simple, basically the modernized Western. Not too much crime. Somebody gonna stand up to the system. Just I mean, the real world news are that taking the internet by storm, right?
Yeah.
If you know the reference, right? Uh, it's yeah, people like that. That is sell is something that is always sell. So is that? Yeah, go ahead.
Right, right. So yes, to wrap things up now. Yeah. So for me though, I really admire the effort here, Dred.
Right.
It
Okay.
didn't
Okay.
it didn't feel to me like, no disrespect. Oh, we just want to make a short film because
Right. Right. Right.
like it didn't feel like a capstone project. It didn't feel like, oh, I
Right.
just want to
Right.
make the show. That no, it really felt like, they seriously, well, actually the people behind the
Yeah.
scenes seriously wanted to make something of
Yeah.
worth,
They do the
something
thing.
of
Right.
value, right?
Yeah.
I like that it just leans in the action genre to the point that, yes, you could nitpick the story and, oh, logically this don't play out like that, but no,
Yeah.
that's
Like
not the
normal
point.
thing.
Because
Yeah.
look, sorry, like we mentioned Commando, we mentioned John Wick, right?
Yeah.
If you
Those movies
stop
are
and
those
start to
those
think legit,
movies. Yeah. Those movies are woefully silly.
exactly, right? And even though this movie takes itself a little too seriously, though, which is to be expected from movies of this, action films of this nature, it still has that sort of, schlocky 80s,
Yeah.
90s,
Exactly.
vibe to it there, where
And
you just
it's a hot
you
minute.
just revel at just seeing your hero just gun down a set of
It's a hot minute.
villains now,
Yeah.
it's like
It's a
that.
hot minute we hear anything of Men Agree, right? So
Oh,
uh
great, good,
and
Hoss,
and
thank you
I
so much
know
for bringing that up, thank you.
somebody I was kind of a colleague of mine. He supposedly get called to work on the third film. Apparently, so I heard that little scuttle, but for 2 seconds. Yeah, okay, when it come out.
Oh, all right, all right, all right.
Yes,
Well, dude.
I hear wheels um changing on that. And look, if they could pull that off, that gonna be a good time because people love the nostalgia. Or at
Yes,
least the nostalgia of it. It's not like a relatively unknown film, like say BIM, for example. But
right.
people remember that. Like people remember that, so that could be a whole thing. If they do that properly, and I hope they get a good budget for it, that'll be a hit. I think that'll be a good local hit. Like
Yes,
that could be a hit.
yes,
If they time it right, they get the right people to promote it. They don't need some big super company. There's a good media social media presence. Hopefully the film will be good. Just got a good budget on the film, and then get a decent social media presence, and that should work out because it's just the sheer nostalgia of the first two films, right?
yeah,
Uh, there's that, but this is a much more positive review than I expected. I was expecting a
yeah,
much more
yeah,
negative.
yeah.
This
Because
was like, all right, well, I don't mind this. I kind of slightly regret not seeing the film then.
yeah, yeah. But you're right, though, and thank you so much for bringing up Menagrado because
Yeah,
I know some people might think, well, why this people try an action movie? We don't do action movie.
no, action
Bruh,
is it?
the first Menagrado was 1990, bro.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
that on Channel 2. That's how
Yeah,
old
true.
I am, right? I
Yeah,
remember Men of Grade 2 Flight to the Ibis being advertised like hell.
Mhm.
And this is
Yeah,
before social
up
media. I
and down.
remember that being advertised up and down on TV. I
I
remember that.
saw that. I saw the both films. I saw it on VHS, and it was awesome.
Wow. Round
It
of
was awesome.
applause to you, Jed. Round of
Yeah,
applause.
I
And
know what I
also,
just.
fun fact, I also actually reviewed the second one on my Was the Scene show, right? But that's another
Yeah,
story. But yeah, to wrap things up, just to get to rating, I'm gonna give this a strong treat, a very like 3.5 out of 5, man. It's right for what it is, man. But
right,
for me, just what pulls it down though is just the limitations. So I just really wish that when it comes to just local films in general, though, I just wish that we just had the proper financial backing that we could actually tell the stories we want to tell in the way that we want to, right? I don't mean like okay, like I want to make this super epic megalopolis, right?
yeah, good.
Sci-fi epic, right? No, I'm not talking about that, right? I'm talking about like this rough and rugged, grimy action film that just
Yeah,
harking back to the 80s and 90s. Like I want to just do something like that, right? But again, I just wish that we just had the budget, right? Yes, you could cut corners and use little techniques, post-production techniques and whatnot, but still I just wish that we got more of the action goodness that one would expect when you hear action film, regardless of where it's made and whatnot, right?
right,
But I felt like the cast and crew came and did their thing. I can't be mad at what they did. But for me though, just two main things I that really surprised me though. One is just the sequel that is alluded to. And just how I think about it, just the idea that look, this could be a franchise. If you really think about it, this could be a franchise. Just the way how
right,
this movie ends, right? Um, and that's the conceit of this shadowy organization that could be responsible for the crimes that we deal with down here in Trinidad. That's something really interesting though. And like this franchise, if you will, or this story could go into so many different directions, right? If you tap into that, right? And yeah, just off the really solid performance by Marlon Ribeiro, man. I mean, like, yeah, this man could be our like next local action hero, right? So it's like that, right? And then secondly, just the response though from the audience, right? Whether they were laughing intentionally or unintentionally, though. The point is that they were engaged by it. Nobody walk out the cinema and say, boy, this movie is real shit, blah, blah, blah. Like everybody sat down. Don't mind it was just for 10 minutes. Everybody was engaged by it, right? And just the response, so like just people came on a Saturday night. I thought again it was just gonna be me and three other people, and everybody else would have gone to watch the 8:15 screening of Gladiator 2, right? Nah, like it was a decent crowd. Nah. Like it wasn't like packed, nah, but it was a decent crowd nonetheless, too. And I just hope that the powers that be, who like if they manage to hear this, understand that look, people will come and see the show. Like you're worried that it go like people will like people won't watch Wicked or they won't watch Gladiator 2. Like they will go and watch it. As long as they show it, you will eventually see it. Don't worry when if it come on digital, that people will go and see it, right? Again, I wish I knew why this movie was promoted with this short gap of time, because
right.
all we just got was just a poster, right? I imagine a lot of people just went just off of a poster. They probably didn't even bother to go on YouTube and look for the trailer for the damn show. I don't know, right? But point is, poster drop on Wednesday, it's share like wildfire, and then all of a sudden we just, all for a movie that only ran for 2 nights, two
Yeah,
screenings each, right? That's just weird to me, right? So I just hope that off of this review, though, yeah, the powers that be just sort of understand. Look, just do the weekly screening. Then. Like I
yeah.
understand that you're probably thinking, oh, if we run it in the afternoon during the week, nobody will show no.
No,
But
it's
I
the
just
opposite.
think it's just a matter of just promotion, right?
Yeah.
And
No,
it,
but to
I'm
me, it's
not,
the
I'm not,
exact
I'm not saying
opposite. You
that
gotta have a
Cribbit
crowd.
Cinemas, right? Exactly. I'm not saying Cribbit Cinemas had to do all the promotion. No, the people behind this movie had to promote the thing too, not just a
Yeah, of
poster
course,
but a
right.
trailer as well, right? But and we we keep seeing Cribbit Cinemas eat this and that, right? What about Movie Town? Like what happened to them? Like they
Well,
gonna
I
run
know.
this too?
Again,
Just
it's two
saying.
different. No, it's two different like distribution people. Like whoever they talk to, they could talk to. That's fine. Like that is not the issue. But it's how much effort you had to make towards the film because once you make the movie, that's just half the process. And I get the feeling that they just thought, oh, you just had to do a movie, and that's just half the work. Sorry to see it.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't know.
Yeah, so that's a wrap up finally now. Yeah, that's the scene right now with local films and distribution. Is just weird to us, well, weird to me in particular, right? Just again, us finding out about this thing literally 4 days ago, right? And or 4 or 5 days ago, you couldn't make the screening because it was too late for you, and I had to make an effort, even though the runtime, the screening time was too late, right? But yeah, something needs to be done though. I don't know, right? But I just hope that just off the feedback that I gave here, and that's also maybe if somebody says something on social media, I don't know. Yeah, I just hope that it just kind of inspires not just other filmmakers to try to get their work out there even more, right? But yeah, we just really need to push our stuff even more, man, because I think that these guys are onto something here with Sacrificial. Really, I
Right.
know that they're onto something with this, right? So I can't really say, go see it because it's not showing anymore, right? But I would say just make a note of it, right? Don't forget about it. Just keep it in your peripheral. I don't care if you
So,
had
so
to
what
save the
going on with it?
picture on your
Is it
phone or something.
so
I
when
don't know.
when would it be showing next? Like
That's
when
the
is it?
thing, because we
Okay,
don't know. We don't know. At the time of us recording this, it's not showing anymore, right?
okay,
I
no
don't
problem.
know if we're gonna get any other screenings for the rest of the year or next year. I do not know, right? But I would
You
just
know,
say to those who
a back by popular demand, do something like that.
or something,
Yeah.
right? But I would just say for those who missed it though, yeah, just keep your eyes open. I don't know, keep the post on your phone or something.
Right.
Just keep your eyes open, right? Or just stick to social media and just see when this movie comes out, right? Whether it's
Okay.
digitally or whether it's on TV or in cinema, right? And yeah, when it does, yeah, check it out, man. Check it out for yourselves and
Okay.
make your own opinion on it, right? And
Yeah,
yeah, that's that.
a little engine that could kind of film. All right, I could root for that. That's not bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.